The stock market appears to be rebounding this Wednesday afternoon, while Bitcoin is holding steady around the $8,700 mark. However, altcoin markets are surging today, led by performers like MATIC, Link, and Hedera Hashgraph. Yesterday's emergency rate cut by the Fed to the tune of 50 basis points led to a Tuesday tumble in the stock market when investors reacted negatively to a lack of rate cuts or fiscal stimulus plans by other G7 central banks. Today, however, investor spirits appear to be lifted on hopes that central banks are in fact preparing to react now that the Fed has moved on their rate cut. Furthermore, news of last night's surprise win by Joe Biden in the Super Tuesday presidential primary seems to be boosting market confidence as well, with the moderate Joe coming out ahead over the more progressive Bernie Sanders in the race. Investors being sensitive to the outcome of the presidential race are, of course, pleased with Biden as a frontrunner for candidate. Managed care providers, for instance, including the LXV index, surged on the news of the win, with firms like United Health Group and Anthem each gaining more than 9% over the night. Now, all the latest news and market analysis, audience Q&A, and more coming up today on Breaking Bitcoin. Meanwhile, India's Supreme Court has struck down the RBI's unconstitutional ban on cryptocurrency. We're proud to see India stand on the right side of history with a great step in the right direction, but will the crypto markets respond as positively? Find out today in our exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin.
Rockwell for NBTV, and this is Breaking Bitcoin.
Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2020, coming to you live from the underground cracking cryptocurrency bunker and trade station. This is your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. I hope everyone watching today on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, and of course on Roku is doing fantastic. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date. If you have any questions, please drop them in the live chat, and the moderators will direct my attention to them in the Q&A section. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell icons. We are here live every single day breaking down the markets. We've got a whole lot to go over today. We've got some very exciting market movements, so let's get to the live scene and break this down. All right, here we are back in the live scene, guys. Here we are back in the live scene. Bitcoin currently trading at about 87.34, Ethereum at 223. We've got XRP holding steady under 24 cents, EOS at about 3.5 cents, almost broaching the $3.60 mark. Litecoin sitting around $60. Binance Coin trying to push and get above $20 today. MATIC, big mover of the day. I did put on a MATIC long position last night, called that in the premium group. We'll be talking about that today. Zcash struggling to get back above $50. Overall momentum oscillators here on the daily for our major pairs are turned to the upside, but still negative. We seem to be largely below continuation filters on most of these pairs, as the majors are pretty much slumping. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, EOS, they are pretty much slumping in a consolidation range. Obviously, we have to worry at these points in times that price is going to break down as we form these consolidation ranges. Generally, what does symmetrical movement do? What does symmetrical consolidation do? After a large movement to the downside, you are typically biased to continue moving in that direction. However, we are, as I've said, in largely no trade zones, depending on the pair. Bitcoin and Ethereum are in general no trade zones, as is EOS as well. XRP, Litecoin, Binance, Bucks, Zcash, those are all in not active trades. There's no active setup, but they are below the continuation filter. So we would be looking for active shorts. Let's start today's analysis by looking at Bitcoin, as we are wont to do. Bitcoin, as I said, currently trading at about 87.27, above the breaking Bitcoin continuation filter, below the daily baseline. The daily baseline has moved down to 9,561. So let's just call it 9,500, closing the daily back above 9,500. Would be a positive movement, would be recapturing the daily bullish trend. as we have closed above the continuation filter down here. That is a good thing. That is telling us to be out of our shorts, to be unhedged and be looking for a movement to the upside. However, that will be invalidated on a daily close below 85.44 here on the daily. Wadatar explosion, our volume and volatility indicator is telling us that we still have negative delta on our volume, i.e. it's confirming trades to the downside. We do not have positive volume delta. That means there is no long trending trades on the table. The only thing that's on the table at this point in time are going to be reversal trades. Looking at Minx, our momentum oscillator, we are trading in the static zone. The Minx line has crossed into static right here. Of course, we got the take profit on short signal off of this candle right here. And yes, we have slumped a little bit back down to the downside to kind of retest the median of the range. We talked about the trading range on Bitcoin yesterday, and we are now back in the middle, putting in a daily doji. Let's see if we can get a bullish up candle. Now, I talked about this yesterday. Wednesday and Thursday are statistically negative returning days. That's why I wouldn't be very worried, honestly, holding daily long positions at this point in time. If you were taking them, if you do have a reversal strategy, which is not what we practice here. However, if you are holding a trade, if you are taking the speculative trade, for example, as we are holding the bottom feeder signal right now, and looking for that upside target of 89.83. This is the first time the bottom feeder has signaled for quite a while. Obviously up here just briefly, and then really down here calling the bottom. Called this candle right before the Jericho candle, and then before the bullish ascension at the beginning of the year 2020. So very interesting signal indicating that price does have an opportunity here to generate a profitable setup. So as I talked about, we did average down into a long position over the weekend, and now we are simply holding. Missed our take profit by just a tiny little bit. We do need to actually come up here and tap 89.83 by $3 on the ByBit chart. So that's okay. We hold the trade until our take profit is hit. But I'm not going to disparage or disregard anybody who already took profits. Good trade, good setup. And now we're just largely sitting flat, spot long on Bitcoin and looking for the next powerful signal. Let's get back over here and look at our moving averages here on the daily. Again, we are holding the 200 daily moving average, the 200 simple moving average. We are struggling right now, kind of consolidating in between the 100 exponential moving average and the 200. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. I need to change that. That is not correct. That's the 200 EMA. I want to make that the 200 simple. And I want the 100 simple as well. Okay, again, still holding the 200 simple moving average as well as the 200 exponential moving average. The concerning thing, as I talked about, that I saw that occurred yesterday is we did get the 1355 moving average cross under on the daily time frame. Unfortunately, that is a fairly negative signal. In this context, the way that I am playing this as a trader is I'm holding my long position, holding my spot long position until Bitcoin fails, closes below the daily continuation filter from the breaking Bitcoin indicator, at which case I will be going short again because I will have to. That's simply what the indicator is going to tell me to do. That's what my strategy and my experience as a trader has told me to do. However, getting back above 90.56, 90.14, getting back above 9,000 and really 9,200 would be a very positive signal at this point in time, reclaiming our moving averages. But unfortunately, as we are still below the daily baseline, we would still be biased to be looking for short setups, right? So that would kind of be, in my opinion, if we were to get back above our moving averages right now, that would still be an opportunity to be looking for a short position until we reclaim the daily baseline, and that is invalidated. And now we're back in trending long mode, okay? But we have to reclaim that daily baseline to be looking for that. Looking at the daily Ichimoku here on Bitcoin, we are still trading inside of the daily cloud. These are the traditional settings on the Ichimoku, trading inside of the cloud, very similar to where we're at above the continuation filter on the daily, but below the baseline. What does that negate to? That means a no trade zone. It means that trades really are not on the table, and the Ichimoku cloud confirms this. Trading inside of the cloud means that price is consolidating. You don't even need any indicators to see that price is consolidating. You can see the range that is being established. We are now returning to the median of that range on today's price action. Looking at the monthly here, again, what are we trying to hold? The monthly shelf that we talked about. We do have overhead resistance in the form of 92.42. That's really what we want to get above on the monthly time frame, as I talked about. Getting a monthly close above 92.42 is going to invalidate the previous down candle, the previous February correction of January's pump to the upside, and breaking above 10,314, in my opinion, really does start to put us in extremely bullish territory. because then we don't really have overhead resistance until around 12,000. We'll see that from the volume profile. So holding 82.98, as I talked about, is very critical here. Closing the daily or the weekly below that level is very negative. Again, I would see retraces to 69.28, 63.85, or worst case scenario, if we go over here and look at the weekly time frame, to the 200 simple moving average on the weekly time frame, all the way down at 54.82 would be my worst case scenario. I do not see price going below that. So for Bitcoin holders who are kind of looking at the macro, looking at the long term, I think holding your position is absolutely fine. Looking at Bitcoin as we move into this global uncertainty and seeing how the global economy responds to these rate cuts and the illness that is spreading across the nation, spreading across the world right now, I think that holding Bitcoin makes absolute sense. And of course, buy Bitcoin, right? That's why we're here. All right, come on, guys, let's move. All right. Nothing insofar as chart patterns. You guys know that I'm not a big chart patterns guy, but we haven't established anything significant here on the weekly. The only thing that is mildly interesting, and we do have to take off the EMAs for this to become kind of clear, is a potential inverted head and shoulders. Again, I've said this many times. Statistically applied to traditional markets, right? Head and shoulders patterns, channels, triangles, they have no statistical edge, right? If you actually go and back test these things and look back over the last 10, 20, 30 years, when you look at traditional markets anyways, and Forex pairs, these patterns do not have any statistical or predictive ability. But cryptocurrency is a little bit more retail driven, and individuals do tend to respond sometimes to these patterns. So it is important to know what the rest of the market is looking at so that you can have some knowledge of what the rest of the market is likely to do. So potentially looking at an inverted head and shoulders. Again, we are in the process of forming the right shoulder of that. That again will be completed weekly time frame. That would be confirmed with a weekly close above 10,145, let's say 10,200, to give us some nice confluence over here on the monthly, as I talked about, with that monthly level of resistance up around 10,314. Okay. That's the monthly shelf. So again, getting back above those levels, very, very, very bullish and people, it's easy to say that, right? Well, hey, if price starts moving up and we close higher candles on higher time frames, that's really bullish. Yes, that's easy to say, but this is slightly different. Like, these are important levels in Bitcoin, and closing above them signals to the rest of the market, signals to institutional investors, signals to traders, signals to retail, signals to the market in general that price is really establishing and continuing on in its bullish trend. And then you get the herding effect, right? Where money flows into Bitcoin and you can get those pronounced bull market trends like we saw in 2016 to 2017. So definitely do not want to disregard that. All right, so back here on the daily, I also want to take a brief look at momentum, and we'll move on to our other pairs. Here we go, momentum. Momentum here on the daily, time transformation still pointed up on the daily. Both sensitive minks and trending minks are pointed up as well. In fact, trending minks just now giving you the exit signal potentially on today's daily close, unless we get a big sell-off, which I don't think is likely, that we should be exiting shorts. Trending style, smooth minks, trending minks is less sensitive and it responds and confirms trending movements. Sensitive minks does the same thing, but it's far more reactive and responsive, right? Which is why we like it. It's very, very good at calling tops and bottoms, as well as calling trending and profitable trade setups. Many members of the group are going to be using this as their initiator, as their primary entry indicator for their strategy. Okay, so that's about all there is to say. Coming back here to breaking Bitcoin again here real quick. Again, very simple, overall no trade zone. We do want to see positive volume delta from Water explosion. We want to see minks potentially cross the zero line. Even though this is a good setup, what I am doing, how I am responding to this, is holding Bitcoin spot long unless and until we close the daily below 8,500, 8,544, and then I'll be looking for active at-risk short setups. As we are below the daily baseline, movements to the upside are to be considered corrections to short until and when we close above that daily baseline. So just keep that in mind. And yes, I am still holding I am holding an at-risk long position because of the bottom feeder signal. But that does not mean that the bottom feeder fired and price is going up. No, it's a highly profitable statistical strategy that gives me very specific trade setups. One of those happens to be a long right now. Again, I won't be holding that long, that at-risk long, that leveraged long above 9,000. That's where my take profit is. Above 9,000, I'll still just be as I am right now, spot long on Bitcoin. Spot long, for those of you who are new to the channel, simply means holding Bitcoin with no leverage. All right. So let's get back out here, get into Ethereum. As we talked about, Ethereum looking very similar, currently trading at about $222, holding above the continuation filter. So basically you can just apply everything that I just said to Bitcoin here. They are moving identically. There doesn't seem to be any sort of divergence here in Ethereum's price versus Bitcoin's price. Ethereum as well, putting in a bit of a doji, stretched a little bit higher for the stars, did not sell off as much relative to its price action, holding above the continuation filter. Daily closes below $216.50 are going to be flipping a short and looking for at-risk shorts. Right now, we're not doing anything on Ethereum, but you can be holding Ethereum spot long until we make that close below $216.50 and invalidate. Currently, we need to reclaim $268.75 to reestablish the bullish trend and be looking for trending longs to the upside. All that would be on the table right here are going to be reversal trades, which Minx did signal for, sensitive Minx did signal for on the 1st of March. If you're using Minx's reversal function, I do not recommend this for new traders. Trading reversals has a much higher probability of failure, and you generally want to only focus on building your higher time frame trending strategy, which is your baseline of profitability, until you look into more advanced and nuanced setups such as this. However, it is what it is. Minx is designed to call tops and bottoms or generate profitable setups. So as a standalone indicator, Minx did call for a reversal here. Now let's move along, getting into XRP here on the daily. XRP more bearish than Bitcoin and Ethereum as we are trading below the continuation filter. We need to close the daily back above 0.2385. So let's just say 24 cents, where we can pull off our XRP hedges. What I mean by that is if you're holding XRP as capital in your trading account for any reason, when we closed below the daily baseline all the way over here on the 17th of February, you would have wanted to open up a short futures position to hedge your XRP. This is the way, this is the strategy, this is how we do things here at Kraken Cryptocurrency. And you would have been in an at-risk short, you've been in an at-risk short here on the 19th, continuation trade here on the 25th. So both highly profitable trade setups, compounding trades, about 4% risk there, compounded, and then taking profit down here on the 2nd of March. Or the 29th of February, depending on whether you were using Minx as your exit signal or breaking Bitcoin as your exit signal. We talked about these both at that point in time. So should Minx cross to the downside right now, cross below the static filter, then we'll be looking for another continuation short on XRP above 23.85, no trade zone until we get back above 27 cents, which would be the daily baseline, reestablishing the bullish trend. So overall, I would be bearish on XRP and looking for shorts should we get the signal. Don't think that's likely to happen today. Probably a couple more days of nothing to do on XRP. Same with EOS. Again, our major markets are largely very boring right now, unfortunately. With the exception of Bitcoin, I'm actually not too much risk in the crypto markets. I am long on MATIC. I have my regular crypto holdings. I'm holding Bitcoin spot long, and I have an leveraged long on Bitcoin as well. I've talked about that. But overall, I'm not in too many pairs. I have a ton of Forex trades on right now and looking for other opportunities. EOS USD, same state as Ethereum and Bitcoin, no trade zone right now. We need to reclaim $4.19. Let's call it $4.20 because it is 4.197 to reestablish the bullish trend and be looking for trending longs. Negative delta volume here from Wada Atar Explosion. Minx gave the exit signal. Breaking Bitcoin gave the exit signal. We are above the continuation filter. That means no trades to take. You can hold EOS spot long. That's the only trade that you can take, but no at-risk trading positions right now. And that is invalidated if we close below $3.48 and 7/100ths, right? So 3.487, a close below there on the daily for EOS is going to be signaling you to go short again with risk and hedging. Looking at Mrs. Litecoin, my love, my one and only, LTC BTC performing quite well, although LTC USD in a similar state as XRP. I would actually be bearish and looking for at-risk short setups on LTC USD, whether you're doing that on Bitfinex, or whether you're doing that on FTX, or whether you're doing that on whatever platform that you have access to leverage. Binance Margin would probably be the one that I most recommend. But we are trading at $59.38 on Coinbase. We need to get above $61.49 to put us in a no trade zone, but to tell us to not be at risk with shorts. That would be an invalidation of shorts. But unfortunately right now, just as we talked about with XRP, I would be bearish on Litecoin and looking for continuation shorts to the downside from your momentum oscillator or the signaling indicator of your choice. Speaking of Binance, looking at BNB, just like Litecoin, just like XRP, I would be bearish until we're above $20.12. Otherwise, there's nothing to do here with Binance. Looking at MATIC, let's talk about MATIC. I took a daily long position on MATIC yesterday. As you can see, let's just take a look at the breaking Bitcoin indicator. Minx had actually signaled for a reversal long one candle earlier than my entry. Beautiful signal from Minx. You can see Minx giving the long signal right here now let's get zoomed in here. Let's get zoomed in. Now, Wadatar explosion was just poking its head above the explosion level, and we did not have a rising explosion level. So again, not probably the best time to take it. Yes, you would have been rewarded, but we have to remember that as a trader, over the long run, you are going to be rewarded for following the rules consistently. You are going to be rewarded from time to time for getting lucky, right? You are going to be rewarded from time to time for getting lucky, but luck does not last. And when luck is gone, what are you going to have? What you need to have is a baseline of profitability, and that comes from following the rules and sticking to the strategy, right? So again, not the right time to take the trade, especially below the daily baseline. But yesterday, on yesterday's close, we closed above the baseline, flipped the breaking Bitcoin initiator to the long side with a rising explosion level with a powerful column from Wadatar explosion above the zero line on Minx and coming off of that long signal on Minx. So beautiful trade, beautiful setup. Of course, the group has already hit take profit one on this trade. The stop loss is at break even, and we're looking for more. Sorry, hold on. That's actually incorrect. I am... It's not correct. Yeah, sorry, that is correct. Take profit one has been hit. Stop loss is at break even. Sorry, I had to double check my trading journal in my account here. All right, so moving on. I thought for some reason that we had maybe hit take profit too. Nice monster pump from MATIC. Coming from analysis from junior analyst Jason, says MATIC on the 24-hour does look bullish, but of course it is far too overextended to take today, to take a position. MATIC would have been a good PTP buy on the 27th. According to his system, and this latest pump would have hit all three take profits. Currently nothing to do with MATIC, but make sure to keep an eye on it for retracements and pullbacks. Now, again, different systems, different traders. Now, let's look at a little bit of news on MATIC, what's generating a little bit of this movement. MATIC is going to be moving 2% of its tokens to Coinbase to test Coinbase custody. They have been approved for Coinbase custody, so this is fairly good to see. Let's see here. Now, of course, altcoins are having kind of a positive day today. Altcoins do seem to be responding to the news that India has lifted the crypto ban. More than the majors here. However, the news was received by the Twitter community with enthusiasm. As for MATIC, their team also touched on the subject, mentioning the event as a bullish sign, at least particularly for their token. The tweet says that multiple development teams are in India and are interested in working with the MATIC network. The teams say that around 80 to 90% of decentralized applications being made in India at the moment are integrated with MATIC. Of course, MATIC trading today with a market capitalization of $66.2 million. That's about 7,500 Bitcoin, 24-hour volume of 114 million. So pretty good to see. Circulating supply, 2.558 billion. MATIC total supply of about 10 billion over there. Now, our other big mover of the day, let's actually go over here to main diversified, is going to be VSYS. VSYS having a big movement today. Let's look at it over here on Huobi. Yes, VSYS had a massive movement today. VSYS looks as though it may have had a quick pump and dump here. Personally, we're not really interested in this chart. As you can clearly see a history of pump and dumps on the daily. If we just kind of scroll back here, we can see a history of pump and dumps on the daily. Doesn't mean that this does not have a chance of continuation, but it is important to keep these things in mind. VSYS with a market capitalization of $103 million, 24-hour volume of 25 million. That's about 3,000 Bitcoin. See, our other big mover of the day is going to be Link, of course. And just looking at the Link chart, you would think that this thing cures illness. What's interesting coming in here from Link and looking at Link with my system is that Link is actually not a buy yet. If we take a look at where we're at, we are going to be closing above the daily baseline today, but we actually need to rally here a little bit, about 3 cents, and close above $4.77 with Link at its all-time highs again today. Make sure I'm not lying here. Yeah, with Link back at all-time highs today. Now, overall, I am biased to say that Link looks a little bit like it is in a consolidation period here. I think that a lot of individuals were shorting Link. I saw a lot of braggart Twitter LARPers talking about shorting Link. I don't actually think that they have the wrong idea if they're looking for a macro trade. So we'll see Link pumping back up to all-time highs. A lot of good fundamentals behind this, or at least people seem to think that they are. Long signal above $4.77 would signal that this trend has a likelihood of continuing and running away from us. Overall, I would be a little cautious entering into Link at this point in time until and unless we close the daily above that $4.70 mark. So definitely one to put on your watch list and watch closely. Definitely trade profitable trade setups here, whichever direction that you want to trade. However, I will note that this does begin to look like a distribution phase. What this could look like is an SFP, swing failure pattern. So we'll see if not an SFP, but a raid where we are wicking just right above local highs. One thing we have to keep in mind is that Link is tradable on FTX. It's also tradable. You can short Link. So now that we can short it, there is a propensity for it to do things like that, like raid previous highs and grab liquidity before moving to the downside. So just be cautious on Link. We'll see if we get the trending signal, but right now it does look like it's being rejected from its movement to the upside. Again, put it on your watch list. Keep your eye on Link, profitable and a lot of volume right there. All right. Getting back over to what we were talking about here, Zcash as well, consolidating below the continuation filter, trading at trading at $49.66. We want to get above $51.95 to tell us to not be hedged on Zcash and to potentially hold Zcash spot long until we're above the daily baseline at $61.48. We need to close above 63.68. However, nice movement. We need a big movement here from Zcash to actually get us trending long to the upside again. But this is okay. Big pumps on altcoins, nice pullbacks. We'll see if we consolidate and we'll see what the next major movement is in the market. Overall, I think that the safest place for cryptocurrency traders to be right now is largely on the sidelines, not speculating, not thinking this is the dip, not looking at, wild opportunities, but just being calm, patient, and looking for the real opportunities out there and waiting for confirmation from their trading systems, which you guys should be diligently building right now. All right, moving on to traditional markets. Looking at the SPY is pumping today, trading at 308.91, QQQ at 215.70. Sorry, hold on, let's get rid of this. We got the Dow ETF at 153.07. Looking at that healthcare sector, XLV, this is the ETF for the healthcare sector. We are at 98.79, so getting a very nice movement out of there today. Gold spot, the CFD over on Awanda is at 16.43. We've got silver spot, CFD over on Awanda, 17.25. The Bentley crude CFD is at 52.01. And of course, I'm kind of watching, this is DRIP, so this is the ETF to short. Oil is at 194.80, so getting a nice movement as the CFD continues to consolidate here, not really buying its buyback there. It's not following the rest of the market. Crude oil oil in general continues to struggle under the weight of its own largesse. So let's take a gander here at the SPY, see what we really want to be doing. Let's throw the breaking Bitcoin filter on here. Breaking Bitcoin filter, as I said, the SPY is largely in a no trade zone right now. We did get that reversal long signal on yesterday's candle, which was beautiful, man. So again, remember, Minx is designed to be used in many different ways, but primarily individuals are going to be using it as a trending long signal or a trending short signal, which is great. Of course, we got the short signal over here, the breaking Bitcoin system signaling for the short on the 21st. Minx getting you in one day later on the 24th after the gap over the weekend, but still setting you up for one of the best shorts on the SPY in traditional markets in your lifetime. Life-changing money was made over the last week, and I hope you guys were able to be part of the group and get a piece of that. Be part of the community in general. Now, what's interesting is that we did get the exit signal for shorts, but we actually didn't get the from the breaking Bitcoin system, which is cool. But Minx doing what it's supposed to on that next dump, on the follow-through dump on the 3rd, right? So yesterday, what happened? We got the take profit signal from Minx, getting you out after the dump back down. And again, for those who are using Minx as a reversal indicator, that's the long signal right there. That's the reversal long signal. So waking up to a beautiful movement from the SPY here, just fantastic to see. Now, overall, the SPY is in a no trade zone. You can be holding the SPY spot long. We are above the continuation filter, 295.90. Getting back down below that, you would want to be looking for, again, at-risk shorts on the SPY. I recommend SH, SDS, and then as it was brought to my attention, SDXU, which is the 3X DTF. I would be a little cautious with that one, especially just no offense. Individuals who know their stuff are fine to apply risk as they want. I think it's SPXU, excuse me, actually. But I'm familiar with SH. I trade SDS. I think that 2X leverage is more than fine. Ties up capital so that I can play other ETFs and invest more money where I really want it to be and really hold cash on the sidelines to do some buying. Because as the market tanks more and more and more and more, once I start seeing double digits on these assets, on these ETFs, on stocks, I'm going to be buying. So, yeah, we need to get all the way back above 324.16, back above the daily baseline, and ideally back above 328.31 to signal that the SPY has actually reclaimed its bullish bias, and we can begin trading the SPY back up to the upside with risk, with leverage, which with whatever you like. QQQ, again, in the same situation, moving right along with the SPY. Again, the Dow moving right along with the SPY. I'd be a little cautious about these at this point in time. Again, I'm overall bearish on traditional markets. I think that we can see some recovery. There's some good news coming in here, but I don't think that it's going to hold the market for long. Zao getting a beautiful movement back up to the upside. I talked about that. Silver as well. Bentley crude, again, as I talked about, kind of struggling down there. Let's actually look at gold spot. We've had a bunch of whipsaw on gold spot. So let's bring up the breaking Bitcoin system. I want to talk about the baseline indicator here as well and talk about why it is so important. So I'm going to search for the baseline indicator. Actually, I'm going to go over here and just turn off this, this, and this. So we just have the, excuse me, and I'm going to turn on both alerts. So for traders in the group, we want to be cautious of too much volatility. We talked about this last week. We talked about this in the group. All right, so no trade candle, even though this was signaling for a proper short, and we talked about this on the show. If we look at the baseline indicator, which premium members have access to, you got the warning right here to not take this trade. Candle size was too big. Similarly, you could have gotten confirmation here, but we didn't get the okay to trade system. And then we got a no trade signal on this candle as well. Now we are getting the trade signal on the long trade. So again, Zao potentially signaling for a long trade. Minx agreeing with this. Wadatar explosion is actually not quite there yet. So that actually might be a good thing. So looking for these big trades in gold. Again, I know a lot of people who've made a lot of money trading the CFD and Zao or trading the, up gold or trading the down gold contracts over the last week or so. But that is a different type of trading than we want to. That is highly volatile, reacting to news, speculative gambling. So overall, gold is not signaling for a strong trade here. What I would like to see is another day of positive momentum. I'd like to see gold close $1 higher above 1643, 235. And I'd like to see that Wadatar explosion volume rise up. I'd like to see a nice sustained bullish trend on gold rather than this insane whipsaw that we've seen for the last few days. So because of that, I am still holding gold, of course. I'm holding SGOL. That's the ETF that I like. I'm also holding SILV. That's the other Aberdeen ETF that I like. I also have physical bullion, but that's a completely separate matter. That is not even an investment. I just like to hold sound money. And that's why I hold Bitcoin. So never sell gold, never sell silver, never sell Bitcoin. But as a trader looking for opportunities in the market, I don't see it here in spot gold. Don't see it on really any of the ETFs as well. Too much volatility. And I think that is has a high likelihood to get individuals in trouble. Silver, on the other hand, a little bit more stable. We did talk about the short trade on silver, did lead to a very beautiful short trade over here when it happened. We've had a nice rebound. We talked about the exit signal. Let's look at breaking Bitcoin here right now, talk about where we need to go. Unfortunately, silver is still a little bit bearish. We just don't have enough oomph here. We still have negative volume delta. We are getting the take profit signal from Minx. We do need to close above 1744 to get the exit signal from breaking Bitcoin. We haven't gotten that yet. We do need to reclaim here on spot silver, looking at the CFD, we do need to reclaim $17.82 to reestablish the bullish trend and be trading silver back up to the upside. All right, taking a brief break over here and just looking at the Forex markets. We'll start off by looking at my open positions. Euro pound, still long in the euro pound. I believe my trailing stop loss has been hit. Again, I haven't checked my Forex account. I will check it tonight when I trade. But I do believe that my trailing stop loss has been hit on the euro pound. Good signal to see. We are getting the exit signal from Minx, so we would be exiting anyways. We are getting the OK signal. We are back in the range for continuation trades. So should we get Minx over a few days here, probably next week, to cross back up to the upside, we can look for continuation on the euro pound. But fantastic trade. I was able to capture almost 80% of this movement. Very, very proud. The pound Swissy, I am still short, but we are getting the exit signal today, so we'll be exiting that trade. The dollar yen, we are still short on the dollar yen. Got a fantastic follow-through movement yesterday, and no exit signal yet so far, so we'll still hold that trade. The dollar won, I am still short on the dollar won, getting fantastic follow-through today. Yesterday, take profit 1 was hit. My stop loss moved to break even. There's really nothing to do now. We are descending into oversold territory on Minx, so we will be watching now for a correction, but still holding the trade open to the downside. And this is a great example of following the system, even when your personal bias disagrees. So again, I know that some people are probably thinking to themselves, Justin, how can you not say that gold's a buy? Or, why can you not talk about shorting this or taking this trade? Because when you are a systems trader, when you are consistently profitable because of the strategy that you've created and the rules that you've set, you listen to your system, even when your heart is telling you to do something different. Your heart is not correct. Your heart is almost always wrong. How many bad relationships have you been in? Your heart's not a very good filter, and it's terrible in the markets. So listen to your head, listen to your strategy, and you can be consistently profitable. If you start listening to your heart, you're going to do silly things like buy XRP at $3. All right, pound Aussie, still short on the pound Aussie. Big wicks to the downside here on the pound Aussie, but no exit signal. So we'll just hold this through the volatility and continue to ride this out. The Aussie Kiwi, still long on the Aussie Kiwi. Great trade. I did get stopped out on the, on the Kiwi CAD the other day, but that was good because I took low risk on both the Aussie Kiwi and the Kiwi CAD because I knew I was cross-currency speculating. Again, going long on the Aussie Kiwi and going short on the Kiwi CAD is taking the same pair in opposite directions, even though against different even though against different base and our quote currencies. But still, got stopped out on the Kiwi CAD, but I dropped the loser, holding the winner long, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Still have my Bitcoin long, and I am still long on MATIC. So all of my trades in a no risk situation. So I'm in a very, very comfortable place. I feel like I'm going to get a call from the central bank any day now about my Forex trades, asking if I have inside information. But again, I'm having a very, very, very good win streak right now that will come down, and I will kind of retain my average, right, which is more 60%. Right now, it's more like 89% over the last month or two that I've been trading Forex. But yes, they will come down. But again, when you have winning streaks, I encourage you guys to take advantage of those and be happy about them. But not at the expense of sticking to your strategy and not at the expense of sticking to your position sizing, risk management, and money management skills that are the fundamental core of what allow you to be consistently profitable. Those are the most important things. Risk management, which means money management, psychology, which just means discipline, sticking to the rules, are greater forces at the end of the day for your account balance going up, for your P&L going up, for putting more dollars in your pocket than whatever indicators you use. Even though using the indicators will allow you to be profitable. Trust me, I know. All right, so that's about all I got for the market breakdown today. Make sure to drop any chart requests that you have in the live chat. The moderators will bring those to my attention. We're going to jump right into the cryptocurrency segment right now. I want to thank, see the chat kind of scrolling around there right now. I want to thank, I don't actually see the name. Somebody subscribed over there on YouTube. And I want to thank DevDog52901 for following us over there on Twitch. Highly appreciated, my friends. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. Maybe my restream chat, maybe the restream chat must have stopped working. Maybe that's what it is. Unless I'm missing something. All right, cool. So we're going to get right into the crypto currently segment. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break, and then we'll be right back with today's breaking news. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys. So our first story of the day is going to be covering India. So earlier today, India's Supreme Court determined a verdict in the landmark cryptocurrency case that threatened a ban on crypto with one of the world's biggest nations. And in the verdict, the panel, presided over by 3 justices, ruled that the Reserve Bank of India's ban on banking services to crypto-related firms was unconstitutional. Now, the RBI first issued its ban on banking services being extended to the Indian cryptocurrency industry back in April of 2018, and it took effect July of that year. Now, in response to this, petitions were filed by public and industry-led interests, bringing a case before the Supreme Court to argue on the RBI's wide-sweeping ban. Kashif Raza, who is the co-founder of the Indian crypto news and analysis platform Crypto Kanun, has been covering this case extensively in recent weeks, and he shared his analysis of today's judgment, writing that it is a historic day, positive for the entire ecosystem. Raza outlined the impact of today's ruling, stating that domestic banks will now no longer be able to deny their services to individuals, exchanges, or startups within the Indian crypto industry. Now, thanks to the court's decision, Raja says that he expects that many sideline businesses to return to operation, new exchanges to launch, and for trade volume and registrations to rise again. He also emphasized that in the medium term, crypto regulation in India will unfortunately still remain in limbo. Late in 2019, the Indian government decided to delay the introduction of a draft bill concerning cryptocurrency legislation. And that bill, entitled Banning of Cryptocurrency and Regulation of Official Digital Currencies, reportedly aimed to impose a complete ban of crypto in India. But at the same time, it attempted to pave a way for a state-backed digital rupee issued by the central bank. Now, with the Supreme Court's latest decision, the government's proposed legislation for cryptocurrency is likely back to the drawing table. So, again, just to put this into context, this is a huge step in the right direction for India, okay? And we're proud to see India, or at least the Supreme Court, stand on the right side of history. However, I don't want to just throw the celebratory banners just now, because the reality is that when we're talking about India, or really any nation state, we're talking about a lot of bureaucracy. We're talking about a bloated government, and bloated governments do not make the most sound, rational decisions, work on the best timeframes, make the decisions that are in the interest of their citizens the best, nor are they, again, in that kind of same vein, making interests that are in the best decisions of their citizens. We have a lot of political turmoil, a lot of big sides, two big sides in the Indian bureaucracy, and they are going to fight and scrabble for political dominance. This is no different from any other nation, but India is a good highlight of this. So again, now that cryptocurrency legislation is back to the table, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to continue to move in the right direction of history. I really hope that they do, and I'd be proud to stand on the right side of history with them. But they really got to prove that they want to continue to adopt Bitcoin as sound money, just as Germany just did, recognizing Bitcoin as legal tender, just as the Marshallese Islands utilizing the Algorand blockchain to build their first sovereign digital currency. Just as many nations are starting to come to the table, I'm very hopeful that we're going to see the increase of mining in other countries outside of China, so that larger nations can get a better idea of how to regulate this, feel more comfortable with it, and really solidify the legitimacy of the cryptocurrency industry and lead to more mainstream adoption. So I want to see India continue to move in this direction. I am just concerned that we're going to see the bureaucracy kind of dangle this for a long time, and potentially even move in the wrong direction by deciding to, essentially one way to look at this is the Supreme Court telling the central bank, you don't get to tell the citizenry what is legal and not legal. We'll do that. So we're going to say that what you did was unconstitutional. And then later on down the road, we'll say that we want to ban crypto, but you're not going to do that. We're going to do that. We're the Supreme Court. We're the government. You're not. Back on out of here. So again, I hope that India continues to move in the right direction. And I am proud that the Supreme Court has decided to do that. It seems the Supreme Court is educated on cryptocurrency. I just hope that their lawmaking, that their political, that their overall politics and bureaucracy can continue to move in the right direction. Unfortunately, this is still more positive than we're getting out of some other first world countries. So, good. Hats off to India. They made the right decision here, and I just want to see them continue to move in the right direction. But I wouldn't celebrate just yet. Our second story of the day, Supreme Court post-game. Now, despite regulatory challenges The highly controversial social media platform Facebook is not giving up on the Libra project, and it is aiming to bring financial services still to billions around the world. Bloomberg reported on sources close to the matter, suggesting that members of the Libra Association are now actively working on a revamped business model for the Libra project. Now, these changes are said to enable the blockchain of Libra to support other types of digital currencies, including those being developed by central banks, CBDCs. Now, although the updated system proposal is exactly in line with the original idea planned out in the Libra white paper, the Libra team is now staking its hopes on adopting other currencies, cryptocurrencies, I should say, as well as CBDCs into its network. Now, it will finally eliminate the concerns of global regulators and bring them on board to their global fintech revolution is their hope. Back in January 2020, during the WEF, the World Economic Forum held in Davos, Switzerland, Libra co-founder David Marcus had been hinting that Libra is not going to compete with central banks, but rather support them, saying that, quote, "I want to really make that distinction between the network and the assets powered by the network," which I think could be issued by different entities, whether it's central banks or private organizations. So Libra kind of taking a step back here and saying, well, no. It's not just, we just don't want the Libra coin to be successful. We want to be a network that encompasses everything. Global regulators, you want to say that we can't run Libra? Cool. I'll tell you what, global regulators, we will run your central bank digital currencies on our network. You guys can outsource the problem, not a problem. We will allow your payments, we'll allow your monopoly all over the place. Don't worry, we absolutely got you. So again, never, ever think that Libra or Facebook is dumb. They are far ahead of the curve, well ahead of the game, and I still think that Libra is going to launch, and I think it's going to be successful. So I realize that I did not flip over to the right screen there, so I apologize for that. But this is the news story of which I was speaking about, right? Okay, we'll just continue right along and just pretend that that didn't happen. All right. Now, our third story of the day is actually pretty interesting, and perhaps the most interesting thing that we're going to talk about today. This is coming from Longhash, and no, I do not want notifications. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the content, make sure to kindly hit that thumbs up button, subscribe with the bell notifications. We are here live every day. Now, two of South Korea's largest crypto exchanges by volume, BitHum and UpBit, have begun delisting, suspending, or even flagging many cryptocurrencies with investment warnings on their platform, which leads the industry or market participants to wonder what is behind pushing these particular tokens overboard instead of others. Now, in an abrupt announcement published on the 28th of February, UpBit stated that it's going to delist 17 cryptocurrencies. And it cited one of the reasons for delisting these assets was, quote, the lack of communication between the developers of the cryptocurrency and the exchange. Now, as a general note of warning being flagged over several cryptocurrencies on their platform, the following description now appears on UpBit's website. Quote, due to difficulties in communicating with the project's tech team, there might be problems related to tech support. Liquidity is small, making the coin or token vulnerable to price manipulation. Therefore, to protect the investors, an investment warning has been issued. Now, BitHum itself also issued a statement explaining why several cryptocurrencies were now designated with investment warnings on their platform as well. Their website states, quote, BitHum has been designated and announcing Populous and Cybermiles as investment warning cryptocurrencies in accordance with the BitHum investment warning cryptocurrency designation policy. BitHum continues to monitor the eligibility for listing, but the reason for designating the investment warning has not been resolved. So a little bit more nebulous, a little bit more amorphous, the information coming from BitHum, UpBit being a little bit more legit, like, hey, the tech team on this looks bad, man. They haven't updated their GitHub in like 6 months. What do you want from us? Don't buy this. Now, at the beginning of 2020, both UpBit and BitHum are said to have adopted a new quality control policy for cryptocurrencies listed on their exchanges. And under the new standards, cryptocurrencies can be placed under, quote, consideration for delisting if the concerns of the exchange are not addressed by the developers of the cryptocurrencies in review. For instance, UpBit is now following a process in which they issue an investment warning, giving a week for developers to evaluate and apply appropriate changes. And if UpBit decides that the issues have not been addressed properly, it will terminate trading support for that cryptocurrency. Coming from Upbit themselves, quote, after issuing an investment warning, Upbit thoroughly reviews the cryptocurrency for a week to decide whether or not to delist the cryptocurrency if the reasons for getting the investment warning are not fully resolved during the above period. Upbit will make a separate announcement to notify the termination of support on trading, quote. End quote, the company said. Now, among the factors being considered when a cryptocurrency faces review for a potential delisting seem to be the following numbers. 1, lack of intent of the cryptocurrency developers to communicate with the exchange to resolve issues. 2, a lack of understanding of the South Korean cryptocurrency marketplace in general. 3, lack of developer activity. 4, lack of volume and overall demand from local investors. Or 5, exposure to the market, liquidity, or price manipulation. Now, many consider this sort of comprehensive quality control initiative being taken up by the top exchanges as being quite positive for the South Korean crypto industry. And it could set a positive precedent for the space that cryptocurrencies with subpar standards or ones that do not provide sufficient support to exchanges will be subject to marginalization by the industry, if not abject delisting. Now, it's said to provide a safer environment for both investors and exchanges as cryptocurrencies with relatively low demand, volume, and developer activity get filtered out. This could also be the sign of a larger industry-wide trend as new Financial Action Task Force and 5 AMLD rules begin to affect the industry. So we should expect to see other defunct crypto projects to suffer a similar fate of delisting as they fade into irrelevance and tumble to the bottom of the CoinMarketCap Top 1000. Now, what do you guys think? One thing that I want to talk about here, is this a good or bad move? Because on one hand, this is what we see from traditional markets. Like, hey guys, if your team isn't professional, if you don't have good backing, if you're not providing support, if you're not communicating with us, if you don't really understand our market, if you don't have a lot of liquidity, therefore, if you don't have liquidity, it's easy for a whale to come in and manipulate your market. We're just going to get rid of you because that's not safe for investors to invest in, for retail to invest in. Now, that is true. That's objectively true. But I want to point this out, right? There is another facet to this story that we haven't talked about and that I want to mention here. This sets the stage for the way that things are in the traditional markets, where if you are a startup cryptocurrency and you have a great idea, right? The way that it has been in cryptocurrency, the way that it has been is if you had a good idea, you could do an ICO, or you could get an exchange to list you. You could scrape together some funds and get yourself out there. And yes, you're going to be low liquidity, but you're a startup and you started with nothing, just some smart guys in a dormitory, right? And maybe your idea is great, right? We don't know where Satoshi Nakamoto wrote his white paper, right? We don't know if he wrote it from a dormitory or from a mansion, right? Much more likely to be from a dormitory than a mansion. But, I'll just point that out, right? Is that, the way that things have been right now with allowing support for these coins, allowing them to be exposed to the market, understanding that, hey, traders are going to come in, investors are going to come in, and it's on them what they buy and sell. There's no guarantee here that you're going to buy this coin and it's going to go up in value. You're investing essentially into a startup, right? Especially if you buy an ICO. And it's going to depend on the follow through, but maybe the creators have a really good idea. And this is a good opportunity. This is a free market. You can invest and buy whatever you want. But if exchanges are going to, now listen, lack of communication, lack of development, lack of technical support, lack of communicating with the exchange, those things make sense, right? But liquidity or low demand from investors, see, those things concern me because that essentially says if you don't come to, because then what are the listing standards going to be, right? If you don't come to the market, if you don't come to the exchange loaded with investor demand, if you didn't spend, 5 years like Robinhood getting everybody frothy to buy your IPO or Uber, or Airbnb or any of these things, if you didn't get the market frothy by having a lot of deep investment capital, VC capital behind you, then you can't play, man. We're not going to list you. Go back, go get some venture capital, invest in infrastructure. You're just not good. Even if you maybe have a fantastic idea and you want to do the grassroots cryptocurrency thing of putting your coin out there, hoping the market responds, getting some early investors, getting people who believe in your project, and allowing, a free market to decide, the fate of your coin, right? So again, this kind of sets the stage where you can have the exchanges, venture capitalists, banks essentially really start to dictate, who can play? Who can get listed? What coins are going to be successful? What is the market going to buy? Because if you're an investor, if you're a trader, and you go to the exchange, you're going to buy what's there. You can't buy what's not there. How many people use decentralized exchanges? Well, like 30 people? No offense, right? I expect that trend to grow, but still, we talked about this before. DEXs are not the answer right now. They're the answer in the future. They need to get better, right? And unfortunately, we live in this world where how do things get better? Things get better from funding and finance. So there's another point to this too, where yes, the projects that get the venture capital are generally better because it costs money to build things, right? Generally, right? So it's a complicated issue. And I think it's one that people should think carefully about before they either run screaming and say this is evil from the exchange, or they should run screaming and say, it's a great move. Let's get rid of these shit coins. You gotta think about these things, right? These are, underneath all of these news things are complicated socio-economic political machinations, right? Philosophy, morality, ethics, things that, ideas and concepts that we have built societies on and networks on. Right? Everything's built on human emotion and thought. Everything is. Society, law, politics, money, greed. It's all, if you drill it down far enough, it's based on human emotion and human philosophy, right? Most people don't think about their philosophy, but you do. You got one, right? The way that you think about morality, ethics, right and wrong, value, ownership, labor, value. All of these things come from your philosophy. Right? So people that think about their philosophy do better in life because they challenge themselves and understand the way that their brain works and why they think the way that they do. Most people don't understand the way that they don't. Most people do not understand why they do the things that they do because they haven't thought and figured out how they think the way they think. So interesting to think about. Definitely think about this. Do you think that crypto projects should be cooperative with exchange platforms? Are any of you holding any of the alts affected by the South Korean delistings? Have you held altcoin bags from 2017 or earlier that are now dead projects walking? Or do you think that's cool? Are you like, yeah, man, I bought this coin because I believed in it. The investment wasn't great, but I still think that the free market should decide and that exchanges should not centralize this power in themselves? Or do you think that's a good thing and that's going to give us better quality projects and safer investments? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, with that being said, it is 1:04. We're going to hop right into the question and answer segment. So let's get back over to the market here. Double checking with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still trading at 87.24 on Coinbase. It's like it hasn't moved an inch since we started talking about it. Let's see here. Whoa, boy. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and open up the chest here for DLive. Distribute rewards. Make sure if you follow us, if you want to follow us and be more involved, hop over there on DLive, dlive.tv/cracking crypto. We give away lemons every single day. You can earn rewards. Great social media platform. Really like what they're doing over here. We'll have my interview with Charles, the CEO of DLive, coming up soon on the Crypto Currently playlist. All right. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you want to receive notifications for our Breaking Bitcoin Bits, which come out every single evening. First question coming in here is from Boris Bitcoin. He is asking if we can take a look at Pfizer and Novo Nordisk. Sure, yeah, medical industry is pumping today. I definitely get the excitement. Real quick, actually, I'm sorry. Before I look at that, there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, a little bit of interesting trivia, right? So I just want to talk about this, right? Actually, you know what? I'll save this for the end. I'll save this for the outro. So definitely don't go anywhere. You're going to want to hear my outro. All right. But one thing that I forgot to cover is the windfall game, stocks, gold, cash, or Bitcoin. This is, I heard Adam Meister covered this earlier today. Definitely go make sure to check him out, the One Bitcoin Show. And I was listening to his live stream this morning from about 9 hours ago now. And he was talking about this. This is really cool, where Brad Mills did this windfall game survey from Hot Specs on behalf of himself and X Squared Ventures. And essentially, this was a survey. This was a real deal big boy survey that was issued to individuals, basically asking the Ron Paul question. A person wants to give you $10,000. You have to hold that form of money that they gift you for the next 10 years. You can't touch it. What would you rather be paid in? Federal Reserve notes, cash, gold, Bitcoin, or 10-year US Treasury bonds. And I think the way that they formed the question was, would you rather get cash, Bitcoin, gold, or stocks, right? And most people chose stocks or cash. And then the second page, though, right? So that was the first question. Then the second page has a bunch of education about Bitcoin. Like, did you know that Bitcoin has performed better than stocks over the last 10 years? That it's held its value against gold better than this? Do you know how Bitcoin works? Do you know this about Bitcoin? Just some basic education about how Bitcoin is. And then on the last page, it asks the question again. And people overwhelmingly, after being educated about Bitcoin, decided to choose and hold their value in Bitcoin. So just a good sign that if you educate people around you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, because people do not understand. Mainstream does not understand what Bitcoin is, how it works, how to buy it, how to store it. And it is your responsibility. If you want to see the network grow, if you think that Bitcoin is sound money, if you want to see this continue to grow, and if you want to see the number go up, you have to tell your friends, you have to tell people, you have to be that person. Just like I was that person back in 2016, telling my friends to buy Bitcoin. Most of them didn't. And then most of them bought in 2018, 19, right? 2018, really. And, amen. Anyways, brother. All right, so we're going to get right into Pfizer, PFE. All right, Pfizer on the daily, trading at 36.03. Pfizer is good, man. Listen, this is one of the few individual stocks I've looked at that is actually going to be generating a long signal on the daily. We had this nice slump to the downside. Minx has spent a lot of time below the zero line here, but we are cracking my initiation system to the upside. The breaking Bitcoin system printing a white cross below the current bar, which is a long signal. We are above the daily baseline, trading at 36.03. Wadatar explosion has flipped to the positive side here. We've had 3 days of average upside. Minx has curled back up. Minx is pointing up. It's probably going to be crossing the zero line either today or tomorrow. Pfizer looks good here. Can't guarantee a winning trade, but my system would take this. Let's take a gander. Let's actually throw Quadriga ATR on here. Oh, come on now. Oh, don't do it to me, baby. Boom. Yeah, so Quadriga ATR would be signaling for initial take profits of $37.05, $38.06, and $39.07. Make sure to trade safely and manage your risk. Hard stop $34.53. I'll allow you to adjust as you see fit. And then you asked for Novo Nordisk NVO individual stock here on the NISA. Listen, Novo Nordisk signaling for a long as well. I'm not going to lie. We've got the long signal from Minx. We've got Wadatar explosion volume. We're above the daily baseline, and the breaking Bitcoin system is flipping long as well. So good picks, man. Good finds. 66.55, 66.96, 68.36, stop at 62.04. Again, trade safely, man. Make sure that this corresponds with your own trading system, because this is not an incentivization to buy or sell anything. All right, Adam. That's a long name. I'm going to try. Question. My 6-hour Bitcoin long from a few days ago had indicator, confirmer, volatility, baseline, agreement to enter the trade. Now the volume is down and the 6-hour initiator short signal triggered, but nothing else. Should I exit? Okay, so hold on here. Let's talk about this. So first off, a trade entry signal for me is going to be generated by the agreement of my initiator, confirmer, baseline, if using one, and volatility filter, right? Once that's done, I use Quadriga to calculate my take profit and stop losses, and I enter the trade, okay? Now, I have early exit systems. I have an early exit indicator or condition, which tells me to get out of the trade. And I have an exit signal, which tells me to try to get out near the top, right? And then, as you know, I put trailing stops on once we reach a certain predetermined price level and allow price to be trailed up. Now, so on the 6 hour, what you need to do is you need to have the answers to these questions, honestly, before you're trading this system. Because right now you're trading an incomplete system, and that can get you into situations like this where you don't know what to do. And that is not why we build our systems. We build our systems so we know exactly what to do. Because if you do not have all the components, it's not going to work properly. So So first off, let's talk about exits. You need to, obviously, if you close below your baseline, you got to get out. And you should have some form of exit system, early exit system, right? Whether that's an indicator, whether that's a reversal system, whether that's a reversal indicator, whether that is a moving average that is faster or more sensitive than your baseline, as I have my continuation filter, so very similar concept here. Now, of course, if your system is signaling a short, that is, yes, I mean, you should be getting out of your trade, right? You should be getting out of your long trade, yes. Because if your system tells you to go long, and then never gives you an exit between here and now, or then and now it's telling you to go short, yeah, you need to get out, right? Whether it's a valid short signal or not, if your systems are starting to point to the downside, yes, you need to exit your trade if you're following the rules. With regard to volatility, JW is a world champion surfer. Thank you, my brother. I don't know why the chat isn't showing up on the stream. Restream has been iffy. It seems to be showing up now. Thank you guys for the comments over here on YouTube. That's the only questions that I see. What do I think of Snapchat? I think it's awesome. I'm over there. You should go check me out. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, what's the ticker for Snapchat? Yeah, it's just Snap. Snapchat's garbage, man. We're below the continuation filter, continuing to slump to the downside. We need to get above 1439 before we're even in a no trade zone. And we need to get back all the way above 1656 to signal along. This is negative. We are getting the take profit on short signal from Minx, indicating a potential short-term reversal. Not something I'm going to trade. Snapchat looks like garbage, man. All right. Let's see what the chat is saying, and then it's probably time for me to head on out. Congratulations to the D-Live winners today. Midwest, Dark Rico, Big Saintsy, the Pie Guy, Go 7. Donnie Don Matthew, thank you so much. I see Agency also talking about Link. Yes, guys, I did already talk about Link. I will have... well, it'll likely be coming out on Twitter later today. But yeah, if you guys just scrub back, maybe Jason can find the timestamp real quick and grab it, something similar. It was definitely in the first 30 minutes of the show because I covered Bitcoin, I covered all the majors, and then I covered MATIC, and then I covered VSYS, and then Link. So if you go back to around the first 30 minutes, I covered Link chain Link. And overall, my analysis was it's not a buy today. It's stretching and hitting this all-time high. Now, well, let's actually take a look. We'll just look at it real quick. I mean, I'm talking about LTC. Link USDT. Link USDT is not look. So look, here's my system. We're coming right up to resistance. Right up to resistance as Link is pumping. Remember, Link is at all-time highs, okay? Now, I am a little speculative over the market in general, right? I'm not in a lot of at-risk longs on cryptocurrencies, right? I'm far more, I actually have far more risk in the Forex markets right now, actually. Now, Link, if we close above $4.77, that will be a long signal, but underneath it, this looks like a potential rejection, and we want to be aware of that. We want to be careful about that. So if we close above 477, I can see price kind of marching up to the upside, but if we do not, I could see a rejection from here. And looking at the daily, that kind of sees what we're doing. So again, for me, it's fairly clear. Above 477, even I myself might be going long on Link, but discretionarily, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to almost short maybe, especially if we get rejection here and close back below the baseline, I'll probably at risk short Link over on Binance Margin, or FTX, excuse me. And one thing we have to be aware of is as we can short sell Link, look at what we're doing. We are coming right above and wicking right above our all-time high, previous all-time highs. And those are setups for liquidity flow for institutional investors to grab liquidity from people buying into the market and sell the market down. Now that we can margin trade Link and we can short it, we have to be aware of these types of environments, of these types of setups where the market will push above local highs, local bottoms, grab liquidity and reverse because it'll trigger stop losses and move price down because a lot of people already shorted Link. I know some big talking Twitter LARPers already shorted Link, tweeting about how they're shorting Link. Freaking noobs, man. And I think if you were going to short Link, right now's the time. Right now's the time. Otherwise, let's see if we can get a trending long signal and see if we can continue marching to the upside. All right, we got Furry Boffin in the house. What's up, baby? Thank you, Donnie. Mr. Boffin, you came just in time for me to sign out because I got to prepare for the community mentoring session. I hope to see you guys there. That is not a parabolic SAR, Yasha. Nice try. Yeah, Binance Margin, FTX. You can short link over there. Let's see here. Closing thoughts. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Make sure to trade safe. Let's hop over to the big screen. I'm gonna make sure you guys don't go away because I'm going to talk about something important here in a second. All right, guys. I want to remind you of one thing. Okay. Yesterday, the Federal Reserve Bank announced an emergency 50 basis, that's half of 1%, 0.5% basis point cut in the interest rate. They have not done that since October of 2008. 2 days after the last time the Fed slashed interest rates by 0.5%, an anonymous paper written by a person or persons named Satoshi Nakamoto entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic payment system, was distributed on the internet. 2 days after the last time the Fed slashed interest rates by 0.5%. And yesterday they did it again. So, regardless of what side of the argument that you fall on, regardless of where you're at, whatever you do, do not forget the fundamental reason of why you came to this community in the first place, of why you were interested in Bitcoin in the first place, and what you believe Bitcoin can do, right? If you look at Bitcoin's price right now and you think that's expensive, again, expensive is only a word that means anything when you consider value. If you believe that Bitcoin is sound money, if you believe that it will appreciate over time, that it will have and hold its purchasing power, that it will be a sounder, harder form of money than USD or any other fiat currency. By the way, there's no fiat currency in the history of the world that has ever survived. Then there's really not a price at which it's expensive because the value that you're getting is exponential. So thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Analysis. Make sure to trade safely. Make sure to always check your systems and make sure that your trading strategy agrees with any possible setup that you might be looking to take. If you guys enjoy the show, enjoy the content, make sure to hit up the like buttons, subscribe here on YouTube with the bell icon. We're here every single day. If you're over on Twitch or DLive, you can follow or consider giving us a subscription. Everything goes to support the channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date. We do post exclusive content to Twitter and Instagram on a regular basis that you will not see here on the channel. Breakdowns of altcoins and things of that nature. Whatever you do, if you are just beginning your journey to consistently profitable trading and you would like some advice, mentorship, and guidance along that path, make sure to check out everything that we do with the company at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. I will be back at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to respond to you within the next 48 hours. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Trade safely and do something awesome today. I'll see you all tomorrow.